morning. Happy Thursday, everybody, which means we are one day closer to Friday, which everybody loves. Today, I'm going to talk about getting a green card through employment. As you know, we are a full service immigration law firm and we do work with companies as well as individuals. We have a whole department that deals just with employment based, investment based, business based visas. So, over the last several weeks, we've had a lot of inquiries about green card through employment. So I'm going to do a video on it today, and at the bottom of the video, we are going to link to our blog on our website where the process is explained in more detail. And after that, if you have any questions, you can schedule a consultation with one of the attorneys to discuss it. So I'm going to start with the fact that when we're dealing with employment-based green cards, we are dealing with employers. The most important thing to remember is that we represent the company that it wants to sponsor the alien or the person from another country for the green card in order to come and work here for the company. The United States has a lot of multinational, international corporations. Those big companies are not just the ones that are our clients. In fact, small businesses bring a large amount of workers too. There's a lot of talented people across the globe, and a lot of employers want to take advantage of that. And that is when they come to us in order for us to work with them through the process. The employment-based process is often called the PERM process. Of course, there are a lot of different variations and variables, and every case is different, but this is just a general overview. Please remember there is multiple exceptions and multiple ways that a person can get a green card through employment. So today I'm just going to discuss the process, which has 3 steps. So we start with work with the Department of Labor. Why do we work with the Department of Labor? So one of the biggest prerequisites is that we have to show that the position cannot be filled, or there are no applicants or qualified workers out of the pool of people within the U.S. who are either U.S. citizens or green card holders, right? They do not consider people on other visas. They do not consider people here who are undocumented, green card holders, and citizens of the United States. The second thing is that the Labor Department makes a survey of what the person with those qualifications in that position with that experience should be paid. And they give you what's called the prevailing wage. And then the company has to agree to pay that wage. So the company doesn't get to set their own wage. They have to pay at least what the Department of Labor is telling them to pay. They can always go above, of course, but they cannot go below, because the Labor Department will certify the wage and will tell us this is what we think is needed. Then the company, we share this with the company, and the company has to agree to pay it in order to move forward. This process alone can take about 6 months. After this is certified, the company has to advertise the position. There are directions and there are guidance on where, how long, and what the posting of the job has to be. It's by states, and we have to follow it in order to conform to the requirements of the process. Once the job is posted, the company has to actually interview. If there are any applicants, they have to interview them. They have to keep detailed account of the interviews, why, for what reason each applicant was rejected or was not considered, or was considered and then rejected. And the company has to keep those records, because immigration can come back, Labor Department can come back and audit those records to see that the company actually complied with that requirements. Once that is filled, we actually move on to working with the immigration on the petition for an alien worker, right? It is a rather complicated, cumbersome work product that contains a lot of attorney work that we prepare. It's not just a form. There's a lot of thought. There's a lot of nuance that goes into that. There is a fee schedule, because at this point you do have to pay immigration for processing, of the petition. And this is the trick, that because we are working with the company and the company is the client and the company is the one that is bringing over the alien worker, the company has to pay both the attorney fees, the advertisement costs, the recruiting process, and the fees to the immigration. There are times where there's a premium processing available. Premium processing right now costs $2,500. It is a fee set by the US government. What does that give you? That gives you the promise that immigration is going to give you an answer within 2 weeks of your submission, and you get a dedicated agent. You have an actual phone number where you can call and an email address. So premium processing is a more responsive, higher level, faster processing for your petition. So we go through this step number 2, essentially. Then the next step will depend on whether the person is actually inside of the United States or outside of the United States. Because if the person is outside of the United States, the next step is the consular processing. Consular processing is where we already work with an individual directly. Now, a lot of the times, because we're dealing with big companies, the company will pay for the last step of the process, but we are allowed to have the actual worker pay for this last portion of the step. Who can come with the worker? If the worker can bring over their spouse and any children who are under 21. That is it. The consular processing for an employment-based green card is very similar to the one that our family-based clients go through. It depends where they are. We have to work with the National Visa Center to prepare, submit all of the necessary documents before the appointment is scheduled. The person does have to undergo a medical exam and have to go to an interview at the U.S. Embassy, because the U.S. Embassy here looks at the actual individual's eligibility to come to the United States. So that means that they don't have anything in their background that precludes them from coming to the United States, crimes and other activities. They look at the medical to make sure that there are no communicable diseases, that the person is up to date with vaccinations, and there's an actual interview, right? They check the biometrics, the background, and everything else. So they check the same thing that they check for a person who's coming through a PERM petition or a marriage-based petition or a child petition. That is just where they evaluate the eligibility of the actual person to receive a green card. And if everything is successful, the person surrenders their passport. A visa, immigrant visa, is put into the passport, and then the person has 4 to 6 months usually to enter the United States to become a permanent resident. That is if the person is outside of the United States. Now, if the person is here, the only way that a person can receive a green card through employment is if the person is in United States legally on some sort of visa. Most of the time, people who go through this process are here on some sort of non-immigrant temporary work visa. The trick is that the person has to maintain their valid status the entire time that the process is going on. Which means for those people who come to us and say, well, I came 4 years ago on a tourist visa, I overstayed, and now I work for the employer, and that employer wants to sponsor me, 99% of the time, that is a no-go. You cannot be out of status, meaning you cannot be here undocumented and benefit from an employment-based petition, with limited circumstances. If you have any questions, please schedule. It is too detailed for me to go into that right now. This is just an overview video. There are also limited circumstances where the person is here, and this has to do with majority of the time with people who've applied for asylum. It depending on the timing when you applied for asylum, what visa you were on, and where you are in the process, there may be a way for you to take advantage of the employment-based visa if you agree to leave the United States to undergo consular processing. So going back to, let's say you're here, you're on a non-immigrant, or you're on a student, or you're on some sort of other visa, and it's a valid visa, and you're in status, and you haven't violated the conditions of that visa. You are then along with your spouse and any children under 21 are eligible to apply for a green card for adjustment of status here in the United States. And again, you can be the one who pays for the process and pays for the filing fees and the attorney fees, or depending on the arrangement, the company can cover that portion of the cost as well. The documents are similarly filed with USCIS here in the United States. The only difference is that majority of the people who apply for green cards in United States based on employment-based petitions don't have to go to interviews. We submit the documents, they're pending. At some point, immigration asks for medical documents if they have not been submitted in the beginning. And then most of the time, the people do not have to go to the interviews. Everything is decided based on paperwork. However, in the very beginning, immigration will ask for the individual to undergo biometrics appointment in order to make sure that everything in the background checks out and the person is actually eligible to receive the green card here in the United States. And the green card will be issued for 10 years. So this is the overview. And of course, there is a lot of nuances. We have to look at the company's financials. We have to look at the resume of the actual person. There are a lot of variables in every single situation, but it is a very, very popular form of obtaining a green card for professional individuals, people with high degrees, people with extensive experience, or people who have certain knowledge that is not readily available. So the American employers are usually ready, willing, and eager to bring talent from all over the world in order to benefit and grow their businesses. So if you have any questions about this, I will link the blog post from our website under this video. Feel free to schedule a consultation with us in order to go over if you're interested in bringing over any workers, if you want to explore other options. Feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching. I'll see you around next week or the week after that. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Bye.